Good afternoon, or should I say, yeah, it's midday, so almost afternoon. Thanks very much for tuning in again to the YBMB live show. Today we're going to be talking about wearables, not the type that one would traditionally think, like so not socks, shoes, dresses, jackets, stuff like that, but more electronic wearables that tell you what's going on in your body. Why am I interested in that? Well, I'll come on to it. Firstly, just to remind you that the YBMB show we run 3 times a week, don't we? Monday, Wednesday, Friday, always at midday. And I like to cover in each of those shows a particular element of what we actually cover in much more detail on the program. So Monday we talk about things to do with the body, and Wednesday we talk about things to do with the mindset and upgrading our mindset, because it is absolutely critical that you go to what I call the emotional gym as well as the physical gym. And then Fridays, we talk about business and all aspects of business. But today is Monday, the body day. And as I say, I want to talk about wearables. And what I mean by that are the things, that, as I said, the electronic things that you can use to measure what's going on in your body. Now, why would you want to know that? I think it comes down to, why do we want to be fit and healthy in the first place? And clearly we want to be enjoying our life, you know, in the present moment as we live it. And we all know ourselves, don't we, that the minute we get something wrong with us, so the minute we've got a cold or, you know, you've got a sore throat, that's the only thing you can really think about. Whereas when you're fit and healthy and well, you can focus on, you know, what it is you're trying to achieve. So I think sometimes that's overlooked, but the number one reason for wanting to be fit and healthy and strong is, you know, so that you feel great, you feel energetic, and you do what you want. But another reason, I think, is that you want to prolong your life. You know, we want to be around, don't we, to do lots of things to take advantage of what's going on in the future. Lots and lots of cutting edge technology taking place. Business is going to change. We want to be around not only for our children, but our children's children. We want to create a legacy. So we want to live a long time, most of us do. And we want to do that healthily. And so this brings me on to the subject of longevity. And I just wanted to take a moment, first of all, to go through a series of questions with you, a scorecard that I recently completed on a conference that I was at, an A360 conference, where they had all the cutting edge scientists together looking at and discussing the things that they're investigating and researching to do with longevity. And they started off with this scorecard. So Sabrina is in the background there, if you wouldn't mind just popping it up for a minute. And I'll just show you this scorecard briefly and get you to have a little think about it yourself. Because what it asks is for you to really think about, you know, consciously your own beliefs with regard to longevity. And what do you think about how long you're going to live? And it looks at this in 5 dimensions, and it asks you to score yourself in terms of this mindset area. It talks about a longevity mindset, because as we know, you know, normally what happens is what you focus on eventually happens, good or bad. And so if you're very focused on you're only going to live till 75 and lucky if you get much past that, then it sort of can become a self-fulfilling prophecy. You know, if you start to retire early, slow down, it can be, you know, the worst thing. I think we all know lots of examples where people retire and then very sadly, you know, they pass away shortly after. Whereas if you really believe that you're going to live beyond 100, I think, you know, that's a good start. Some of the people here on this conference were of the belief that we're going to be able to live beyond 150. What they say is that if you just hold on strong and fit and healthy enough for the next 30 years, that will be enough time for science to catch up, and then you have a choice of how long you live, and we'll probably be living in other planets as well. So getting back to this scorecard here, it's saying to you to score yourselves in terms of your belief. First of all, in terms of overall longevity, what you believe in terms of how long you're going to live. Score yourself 1 to 3 if you think life is short and you hope to make it to 75. 4, 5 or 6 if you're aiming to get to at least 80 years old, maybe to 100, and the goal is to stay out of a wheelchair during that time. 7, 8, 9 and 10 is that you would get to at least 120 years old, healthy and fit, and shooting for 150-year lifespan or older. Interesting to think about that and what you really truly believe at the moment to score yourself. The second thing is about what you read and watch and what you actually let into your brain. And it says here, you know, score yourself only 1, 2, or 3 if you don't really monitor what you actually read or watch, and you typically are watching, you know, whatever sort of is in front of you, and generally speaking that tends to be bad news, right the way through to I actively shape my longevity mindset by consuming inspiring books about lifespan and longevity. And then the third dimension is about who you hang out with, your community. You know, only 1, 2, or 3 if you hang out with people who are always talking about diseases, aches, pains, and death. As opposed to the other end of the scale where you are hanging out with people who are young-minded. This doesn't mean to say that they are necessarily young, but what it does mean is that they are full of vitality, they're pursuing the next thing, and they're very health conscious. And then the fourth dimension is diet, sleep, and exercise, how we actually treat our body. Ranging from a low score, I eat whatever I want, I don't prioritize sleep, I rarely exercise, and health is not my top priority, all the way through to I make sure I sleep 7+ solid hours per day. I'm focused on building, healthy muscle mass. I eat a healthy diet and very little sugar. And then the final dimension, which is what I'm going to spend a bit of time on today, is about your knowledge of cutting edge diagnostics and biotech interventions. Starting from 1, 2, or 3, I have no idea what's going on with my body. For my health, I occasionally imbibe red wine or scotch, all the way through to I've sequenced my genome, I do an annual MRI, I take peptide stem cells, I've joined the Fountain of Life or another similar program. So this is something that is very useful to, and if anyone wants this, you can DM me later and I can let you have this. But you can score yourself in terms of your longevity mindset, and awareness is the first step to actually changing that. So thanks very much, Sabrine, for flashing that up, and you can take that off the screen now, and I'll tell you some of the things that we have actually used and that I've introduced on my program, Your Body Means Business, as a way of that fifth dimension, finding out what's going on in your body. Because if you don't know what's happening, then, God forbid, you could die from something that was totally avoidable. And one of the key messages that I read in a lot of this sort of content is don't die from something stupid. Find out what's going on, try to nip things in the bud, and don't, some people are a bit sort of ostrich-like, they don't want to know, they'd bury their head in the sand and they'd sooner not know. But, find out about it, find out about these things. So how do you do that? Well, I'm going to go through a series of what I call wearables, or what are termed wearables, and all the different things that I've tried and what my experience is and what I would actually recommend. I have no allegiance to any of these, although actually with some of them, if you join the YBMB program, then you can get a discount because I've collaborated with them. This is not so that we get any kickback of any sort, but it is genuinely because the people on my program, I help them, to physically with their body. And that doesn't include just how it looks, but it's what's going on the inside. And then, of course, as you know, mindset and business as well. So let's just go through. I thought I'd go through chronologically what I've actually used and how I found it. And I'm sure that some of these will ring bells with you and some of them might be new. We'll start off with that thing that probably most people are familiar with, and it is that sort of that chest strap. Do you remember getting on a treadmill? And, they would give you a chest strap, and sometimes it's attached to the treadmill, and you pop it on, you put it across your chest, you start running, you put your hands on the treadmill, and it just tells you what your heart rate is. And it tried to get you into that particular zone where, it would be able to say that you are sort of burning fat, or, you were improving your lung and heart capacity. So that was the very first thing. I think it was a bit hit and miss. It wasn't bespoke enough. And what we do know from treadmills now, and the basic data that was on the treadmills, at least when I was using them, which wasn't that long ago, is that they can be very misleading, because they would tell you, for example, that you've utilized, you've run for 20 minutes and you used 300 calories. What they don't tell you is, even if you'd have just stood by the side of that treadmill and just breathed normally and had a chat, that you probably would have utilized 250 anyway, just by being a human being and heating your body up and all the human activity. So actually the difference in terms of the calorie utilization on a treadmill is minute. So you really have to, you may as well just not eat the donut and not consume the 300 calories rather than run to get rid of it. So I didn't find that strap particularly of any use. The next thing, just in chronological order, is when I was doing running, and I used to, I ran one marathon. I did quite a lot of half marathons, and I used to do a lot of boot camps and running. And so I used to like the app called Strava, which that just was monitoring your steps, and it would show you what your fastest rate was and all of that. And I'm sure some of you have used that as well. And it's useful to give you an indication of where you're running, how quick you're doing it, how effective. And I think this is the first one that I found was very motivational. And I think this is going to be the theme of all the things that I talk to you about. It's if you are the sort of person that is motivated by improvement, you like to gamify the whole world of fitness, and you like to take on the challenges, Strava, I think, is really good because you can always better your previous time, and it lets you join in with other people as a team as well, so you can sort of see how you're doing compared to everybody else. So I think that's useful. I wouldn't call that a wearable as such, but it was just the next thing that I started using. The first sort of proper wearable that I had was the Apple Watch. I found the Apple Watch was brilliant. I didn't like the fact that it would ding and telephone me and things like that. I found that very intrusive. I switched all that off. But I did like the fact that it would encourage me to stand up. So, it would be that you have the 3 rings, don't you? And it tells you that you've maybe not been active enough, that you've sat down for too long. So it encourages you to do your steps. So it gives you your step count, and it gives you your heart rate. So that's the first time I became aware of my heart rate and what my resting heart rate was in terms of beats per minute. And I found that useful, very, very useful real time. And it was very nice to be able to look back over the previous weeks and see the completed rings. So found it very motivational. So I would say an Apple Watch is a great place to start if you've not got any wearables, because it does a multitude of things. Obviously, it links to the health app on your phone. So all of the steps that you're doing around the house, maybe when you're not holding your phone, they all get counted. So I used an Apple Watch for a long time until I sort of swapped it out for some other things that I'm going to come and tell you. But the Apple Watch I would definitely recommend as a first start. Other people, they like the Fitbit. I've not used the Fitbit myself, but what I've heard is that it's not quite so accurate with the step count. But it will give you the heart rate as well. But if you're picking between a Fitbit and an Apple Watch, and you can afford that little bit extra, I don't think there's too much difference in the price. I'd go for Apple Watch over Fitbit, but they're both equally of use. So the next thing I jumped to after the Apple Watch, and what I moved to, actually, in fact I wore both for a while, was the Whoop strap. I don't know if you've I haven't actually got mine. I don't wear it anymore now, but I used to put it up here. Well, firstly I put it on my wrist, then I put it up here. It's just literally sort of like an elasticated strap, and it's got like a little series of sort of sensors on it, and it goes against your skin, and it basically links into an app, and it tells you a lot more about your heart rate variability, and also your resting and your moving heart rate, and it's a great thing to monitor because obviously you want to get your heart rate. When I say obviously, the fact is you want to get your heart rate down and your heart rate variability up. And again, you can gamify it because it will also tell you, you can monitor over a period of days what's been going on, and how that has directly impacted your resting heart rate and your heart rate variability. So I like that. But the only problem with the Whoop strap is it was so fiddly. It kept coming off. So it would give you the data, but the thing kept snapping off. The strap gets loose. If you want to wear it all the time and you're wearing a light colored one, it can get grubby. The black one just looks, not great. So the Whoop strap, I think they just need to do a bit more development on it to make it more comfortable. But I love the data that it gave you. But the thing that I found so much better than the Whoop strap, and better than the Apple Watch, and better than everything else, is this thing that I wear now. So it's called the Aura Ring. And I'll just take it off and show you. And again, I have no affiliation with this company, but I just think it's fabulous. So inside you can see there's some little sensors. Can you see that there? And they send you sort of a little sizing kit first of all, so you can decide where you put it. You can put it on any of your fingers. So sometimes I wear it on my thumb, but I like it on this finger. You get used to it, and it's very easy to wear. But what this does is it really gives you great information, real-time information on 3 things. It tells you about your sleep, first of all, and As many of you would have heard me say now, sleep is probably the most important aspect of your health. You know, we were never told this for a long time, but scientists more and more and more are concluding that, you know, if sleep wasn't important, as we have evolved, we wouldn't need it so much, because it's really a silly, if you think about it from a survival point of view, it's a silly thing to do, isn't it? To go to sleep, to not be there to be able to protect your young and protect yourself against predators. And yet here we are, you know, an evolved species, and still we need to really, you know, switch off and completely recharge our batteries through sleep when we are totally helpless. So we really, really need it as a human being. And there was quite a time, wasn't there, especially in the 80s with Margaret Thatcher and so on, where it was all about powering through and not needing any sleep. And but the truth of the matter is that if you're rating things to do with your longevity and your health, then sleep is number one. And the great thing about the Aura Ring is it tells you all about your sleep. It shows you how quickly you fall asleep, the levels of sleep that you have. It tells you the percentage of really deep sleep, which is the very restorative sleep, the REM sleep and the light sleep. And it's just, you know, fabulous for showing you the trend and giving you a sleep score, and telling you as well the sorts of things that happen in your sleep, like your temperature. Has your body temperature gone up or down? It will actually indicate for you when you're sickening for something. What else did it tell you? I mean, there's some really great graphical information that it gives you. So it gives you a good trend. And again, you can sort of gamify it, because for me, I mean, you know, I've been really working on my sleep since I've had this, and I've had this now, I think I got it last May, might have been April or May last year, so nearly a year. And my sleep score is massively improved, because I always say what gets measured gets done. And once you know what your sleep score is, then, you know, you can really do something about it. It doesn't look like that brilliant, I suppose, but they do different ones. They do black, silver, they even do gold. They even do one with diamonds as well, if you want to bling it up a little bit. So I would say that that is absolutely fabulous. It tells you about your sleep. The second thing it tells you about is your readiness. So it will tell you, you know, whether you are really fit to go, whether you're rested, whether your temperature's okay, whether your heart rate, because it monitors, that's the other thing. It monitors your resting heart rate, your heart rate variability. And again, it shows you the trend. So it tells you how ready you are. So it's really nice to wake up in the morning and see you've had a brilliant sleep and you're really fit and ready to go to push yourself in the gym. Other times it might say, do you know what, you didn't sleep that well, your temperature's a little bit up, your heart rate didn't sort of start to go down until quite late on in the night. Why don't you sort of take it a bit easier today? So it's really good to have that sort of information, because you never would know it otherwise. You would just sort of wake up and just get on with it, wouldn't you? So readiness is really great. And then it will also tell you about your activity, not just about your steps, although it does count those, but also about all your other movements. So it knows that, you know, if you're very animated, so I tend to move a lot, then that is obviously, that's a good thing. You know, you're active, so you're moving your body, and that sort of is a good impact on what goes on in your body as well. So I highly recommend the Aura Ring. So that for me replaces all the other things, replace the Apple Watch, replaces the Whoop strap. I think it's really, really great. And I'm sure that they're going to do a definite, you know, a version of this eventually, which we don't even have to worry about putting on. I'm sure they'll do something that sort of goes under the skin or whatever, but this is the best so far. And if you look at the leading scientists from that conference that I was at last week, practically all wearing it, which I think says something about it as well, because they'll be looking for the best thing. Other things that I wanted to mention to you in terms, so that's sort of wearables, I think. I suppose the other thing that I wanted to show you was the Oculus. Let me just get that for a minute. This thing here, this is, you know, it's not really a wearable. You're not going to walk about in that so much, but it is a thing of the future. It's called the Oculus. You put it on and it's like a VR headset. So you put it on and you know, you can sort of see virtual reality scenes in there. It is unbelievable, you know, how realistic it makes it look. You just feel like you're in a different, I had it switched on and they set it up so that we were having a meeting. And you know, you create your own avatar, so you see the little you walking around, and you can be in a meeting room, you can create your own meeting room, you can have all your teammates there, and it's such a significant step further than Zoom. So it's a form of wearable, but it's more applies itself at the moment to business. But if you think about it, just imagine if we can run training sessions, PT training sessions, and we're using something like that, but obviously not such a bulky version. I'm sure that this is going to be refined, and already Facebook have got little glasses and things like that they're using. So getting on to, I think I'd like to tell you a little bit more now about what goes on inside your body and how you can monitor some of that, not through wearables now, but services that are springing up all over the place. One of them is this thing called Bionics that I've subscribed to. So Bionics is about measuring what's happening in your blood and then creating a bespoke mix of vitamins and minerals precisely for you. And it comes in granular form, and you literally just take a scoop of it and a couple of times a day, and that will address everything that's going on in your blood. So what they do is they send obviously a qualified person around every 2 months. They take a significant amount of blood, I must say. So, you're a bit sort of worried or squeamish about needles, you just have to look the other way, but they're very, very efficient and great at doing it. And they take some vials of your blood, 6 vials of your blood, and they go and analyze it all. And then they give you a prescription, which is a tub of these granules, which consists of all of the vitamins and minerals and everything that you need to take to get your blood levels to the correct level. So if you're a bit low on iron, high on iron, or, whatever it is that you are, the whole thing is going to be addressed. So you don't have to take a multitude of tablets. It's called Bionics, really, really good thing. You subscribe to it. Another thing you can subscribe to, which is which I haven't done yet, but it's in a similar vein, is called Viome, V-I-O-M-E. This time you just prick your own finger, take a little bit of blood. So I don't think it's maybe going to tell them quite as much, but maybe it doesn't need to for this particular purpose. You prick your blood, you send them this little sample, and on the basis of that, they can detect what's going on with your gut. I think you also send them a stool sample as well. So again, if you're a bit squeamish, you just have to sort of forget about that. I think you take the sample, you scrape it with a stick, you put the stick into a test tube and you send it off. And on the basis of that, they predict, or they can tell what's going on with your prebiotics, your probiotics, and obviously gut health, as I've said in one of the previous programs with an expert that I had on, is really critical. Your gut is connected with your brain. It really dictates how you feel and how you think. And to get that really top quality healthy as well is an essential if you want to stay super fit. So Viome is the service to subscribe to on that. And then again, you can subscribe, and every 2 months they will send you a new solution of supplements which address your gut. The other thing that I subscribe to is with a company called Sapiens, and they send you patches, and you put them on the back of your arm, and these patches will read your blood glucose. And one of the most, I was saying to you, of the most important things for longevity, the first one is sleep. The second one is actually sugar. Sugar is an absolute killer. It's poison to the body. It really is. And as I think I've said before, I think there's about 10 companies responsible for making all of our food. And these companies, don't forget, are all interested in making money. And so they have thousands and thousands of subsidiary companies. So you would never know that it's only 10 companies behind it. And, as has been said before, nature feeds you for health, and manufacturers feed you for profit. So basically, we can consume an enormous amount of sugar without even knowing it, unless we eat as naturally as we possibly can. So obviously, step one is to eat as naturally as you can. But this thing here, this Super Sapiens patch, you put it on the back, you keep it on there for 14 days, and it connects through some little sensors through to an app on your phone, and it will tell you about your blood sugar, and it will tell you when it's raised and when it's low. And that is going to be very helpful as well for you to know, because, at times it will be raised when you're eating healthily. And that's a good time to start to really hit the gym or go running or whatever it is you want to do, because you know that you're going to have a lot of energy. So I will tell you more about that once I've used it for a bit, but that's a new thing that's just come up, and it looks really good. So that's a few things that will tell you what's going on inside your body. I've already mentioned the benefit of having an annual, at least an annual, maybe even a biannual. It's up to you how old you are and how you feel. But having the MRI scans, because the MRI machines they have now they take such thin slices when they take the pictures of your body. That is even better than having the ultrasound, and they'll be able to tell everything about all your internal organs, and they'll be able to see down your your arteries for your heart, and they'll be able to see all your vital organs, and they'll see what's going on, including your brain as well. So that's an amazing thing to do. So that's on the wearables, and also the things that can monitor what goes on inside. And then I just thought I would quickly finish up with telling you about some of the apps that particularly I use, that I find very very effective. Obviously, we've got the health app, the Apple Health app, which counts the steps, and for me, it's so easy to use. I always keep a check on it, try to do the 10,000, and generally manage it because of the that step app. It just keeps me that bit more active. If I get to about 8,500, it's easily, I think you might see me on Instagram, it's easy to finish those few extra steps at home. You can jump up and down a trampoline, run up and down the stairs, you can get that done. If you have, either you want to do a bit of a warm-up, or you just don't fancy going outside, I like the 7-minute workout app. Really quick, gives you 14 exercises, times you 30 seconds, bang, you do basically 30 seconds of whatever exercise it tells you, and then the bell rings, and then you do the next set and the bell rings. Really good way to just keep you active. You did that 2 or 3 times a day. It's just as good as a run. So that's called the 7-minute workout. You know that I like my Fitness Pal to monitor the food that I'm eating. I like to know, and I can sort of once you've been sort of training and monitoring your food for quite a while, like I have now, you can sort of just look at it and you can know. But if you want to tighten it up and you want to get a bit stronger and a bit stricter with your food, because you've got a goal or a target, then my Fitness Pal is brilliant. And especially if you're learning about the content of food, you plug in what you've done, what you've consumed, or what you're planning to consume. It will tell you how many carbs, fats, and proteins that is going to consist of. And it will probably surprise you when you very first do it, because you're trying to find out what your baseline is. Most people wonder why they've put on body fat, why they're not strong as they want to be, why their body doesn't look as they wanted it to, or as it used to. What they find is they're consuming far too many carbs, not enough protein or healthy fats. And they just start to get their baseline, and then they can tweak it, and then they can start the journey of improving their body composition. And it's amazing how quickly you can do that. So my Fitness Pal is great. For working out in the gym, maintenance can be achieved by just doing the same workout day in, day out. But if you want to develop your body, if you want to build muscle, then you've got to swap it around. You've got to increase time under tension, which means that you have to lift heavier. If you don't have heavier weights, you can do that with what we call progressive overload. You can sort of slow the movement down. You can do more reps. But ultimately, you do have to increase the weight. And the way to record that, because you can never remember what you did last week, especially if you're doing 4 and 5 sessions a week, is to use an app called Heavy Sets. So I love that app. It's a great and easy way to record exactly what workouts you've done, how many sets, how many reps, what the weights were that you used. And then you can, again, just, gradually increase it. And so sort of gamify it, which really helps your progress. Getting back to sleep, I like to use Sleep Cycle. So yes, I have the Aura Ring, but also I use the app Sleep Cycle. You pop it on just before you go to sleep. You can still put airplane mode on. You put the phone face down, and it will monitor what goes on in the night, actually. So it's quite funny, because if you snore, it will monitor your snoring, and you can replay it and see. If you wake up in the night, you'll be able to see what woke you up, what the noise was, or whether there's a particular time it happened. And I think one of the really good things about it is you can set a wake up window. So say, for example, you want to wake up at I like to wake up 4:45. It will set a wake up window between 22 and 10 to 5. And it will wait till you're sort of shifting around, and then it will wake you up really gently with some nice music. So you don't have that horrible start of waking up, as if someone's really sort of made you jump. You just gently wake up. So that's a nice app to use, Sleep Cycle. And it will enable you as well to really build up a history of your sleep. And it will even compare you to everybody else in the world who uses it. I mean, you can see, how you're faring in terms of your sleep against everybody else. And then what else? The Muse. But now we want to talk about meditation a little bit. If you have only just started meditation, or if you've been doing it for a while, you may be familiar with the head. It's not called Head Start, is it? It's called Headstrong. Is it Headstrong? I don't use it now, but I think it's Headstrong. The meditation app. So you can, it's really useful. In fact, if it's not Headstrong, I'm going to have to tell you about that in a minute, because I can't remember off the top of my head. Sabrine, have a little look at it and just intervene and tell me in a minute on the chat. But it's a great little app because it gives you guided meditations, many of them as well. And it's totally for free. So if you're brand new to meditation, it's a really great little app to download, and you can it will teach you all the basics of meditation. People often say to me that they've never used I think it's Headstrong, I can't remember at the moment, but they've never meditated before, and they're worried they're not doing it right. There is no right way to do meditation. I mean, you literally just sit there in a comfortable position, you close your eyes, you focus on your breath, and what comes up comes up. So if you are ending up thinking about the shopping or the list of what you've got to do, then fair enough. All you do is when you think about what it is that you are, when you sort of realize what you're thinking about, you bring your mind back. It is Headstrong, someone's just said, yeah. It says Headstrong, the app. You bring your mind back to your breath and you focus on your breath again. But your mind is like a sort of a little puppy. That's what I like to think of it as. You sit down and you meditate and it runs away, and it sort of goes off and plays, and then you realize and you bring it back again and you focus on your breath. But that is a really good starting app, Headstrong, for meditation. But the thing I absolutely love and that I use all the time now is the Muse band. I've been using that for a good couple of years. And you put it across here like this, and it connects to your app and it reads your brain waves. And you click on the app and you pick your soundtrack. And the version I've got their third version. It actually allows it to monitor your heartbeat as well and your breathing. So they've got some really lovely soundtracks which will mirror the speed of your heart, for example. And it will, when you're really sort of calm and you've got control over your breath, it will play sort of bird sounds and things like that. It's incredibly calming. And I love when I start the day with the Muse band and I do it every day. I really, really try to do it every day. And again, they gamify it. So they give you challenges. So I think, I've done the top challenge up to challenge 24, and there's no more challenges to do. So it's a bit annoying. I hope they do some more. But every now and again, you lose your streak and you have to start again, but it does count your streak. But it's an incredibly relaxing app. And I always think of meditation as literally, showering the brain, cleaning the brain and showering the brain in just the same way that you might shower your body each day. So I'd highly recommend the Muse band once you're used to doing meditation and you think it's going to be a fixture for you, going forward. And I never would not meditate. Just to finish up on that point, I guess, people think that to be fit, you have to go to the gym the whole time. You don't, it's good to work out 3 or 4 times a week. But more importantly, you've got to sleep, you've got to move your body. So, doing your steps. And then after that, the physical gym. But the other thing that people maybe don't talk about quite so much is what I call the emotional gym. And the emotional gym is really setting your intentions at the beginning of the day, setting your mind straight. And you do that through things like meditation. And then after that, we run through a series of activities. That's what I teach on the YBMB program. On the program, by the way, we do 3 weeks where we just focus on the body. And I teach everybody, the secrets, if you like, of how to really quickly transform your body and start to get the body you want again. Once we've done that, we move swiftly to another 3 weeks of what I call the emotional gym, the mindset, because to stick with it for your body, you've got to have your head in the right place. And then, we do all of this great stuff, including meditation techniques on the program. And then once we've got those 2 foundations in place, I then move to section 3, which is all about business. And I introduce a proven business model. And we do individual one-to-one coaching and one-to-many coaching on business and career so that you can really reset your goals. And now you've got the body and the mindset in place, you will have the energy and the clarity to be able to do that. And then the 4th section, the final section of the program, is all about lifestyle. and sort of packaging up, I suppose, the external parts of it. And that's, in a nutshell, one season of YBMB. So that's the live for today. It was talking about wearables, but I suppose it's really about health and longevity. And if you want to learn more, then, by all means, come on the program. I would love to meet you and tell you some more about it. And there will be some links in the chat to tell you about that. So I think that's all from me for now. Thanks very much for tuning in. Bye-bye.